In this video, we're going to review the process of sending the board geometry, Soldermask, and silkscreen over to the mechanical domain. If you look at the MCAD collaboration interface, select the board outline, you can see the overall board thickness that we're sending. If you compare it to the StackUp editor, you can actually see that there's a difference. We have 1.62 millimeter instead of 1.6. That's because we don't send the solder mask, the top and bottom, over to the mechanical domain as it is a non-uniform layer. This can be sent, but it will be sent via a solder mask layer. We will enable the solder mask, in this case the silk screen, in the collaboration interface, refresh the data, and you can see in this baseline we have solder mask on the top and bottom and the silk screen on the top and bottom layers also. We'll send this baseline over to NX. Before we apply the exchange data, we need to review the PCB exchange settings. First, you can see that the board as assembly component is enabled. This means when we import the board geometry, it will be created as its own part rather than sketch items part of the assembly. The important settings for solder mask, however, are the masks and generic shapes. We need to assign them as bodies instead of curves because we want an extrude depth to it, as well as a limit on how many solder mask openings we want. If it exceeds 8500, then it will convert it to curves for better performance. Another key setting is to generate negative shapes for negative layers. Since solder mask is inherently negative, we need this enabled to bring in the data correctly. Another thing to review is the restriction area ECAD layers. This allows us to define and set the NX color, the layer, where a lot of this information is being placed within NX. We will read in this baseline file from Xpedition. And once it's imported, we'll be able to validate and see the solder mask, which I've colored as purple, as well as the board geometry. Thank you for listening to this video.